My name is Jean O'Brien, and I was delighted to be asked to be part of this year's Trim Festival. I was asked to judge their poetry competition, and I believe Michael Farry Michael and the team tells me that there was a wonderful amount of entries from near and far. I think they had, I don't know how many different countries, but America, UK, etc. I know almost all judges say it's hard to choose, etc. But I really genuinely do mean this. It was hard. The first 50 or 60 poems I read in the batch could easily have made it into the long list. The hard part was narrowing it down to a mere 30. The poems came in all lengths and sizes and on most subjects under the sun. They were shuffled and reshuffled, read and reread. Sadly, a lot of good poems had to be left behind, until almost like cream rising, the winner started to rise and emerge. All judges naturally have their own tastes and preferences, but alongside that, I was looking for the well-made poem, the poem that had rhythm and natural music, that was accomplished, taught, and had some mystery and an insistent magic. Here are the results. The winner, Angus Strachan from the UK, his wonderful poem, To Make a Doll. This is an excellent narrative poem, which was very well controlled all the way down, melting on its own riding, as Robert Frost says a successful poem should do, and only revealing itself halfway through the penultimate stanza. The poem comprises of 7 unrhymed and uneven line stanzas, the unevenness calling to particular details. The building blocks of this poem are the rich and poignant details. It's written from the viewpoint of a boy, and we know it's a boy because he tells us, the readers, in the 4th stanza by saying, "Do this with my boy hands, which are clumsy with good some things, but good treehouse building hands, Nana says." There's a lovely bit of wordplay in this stanza with the word thimble. He has already informed us that he is taking things from Mother's wicker basket. In the 1st stanza, a stanza rich with assonance and alliteration, with its repeated hard K's and W's and T's, setting up a subliminal sound pattern that is loosely carried throughout the poem. It's only in the penultimate stanza that the speaker reveals his hand with the heart-rending lines. She never got to be 2, so her tummy button is still only small. With its repetition of double sounds, the repeated L's in still and small, and the repetition of the word button and tummy. Then in the last stanza, the speaker reveals his sister's name, Gida, which incidentally means warrior, and tells us mothers never forget. This poem could have been over-sentimental given the tough subject matter, had the poet not kept such tight control. A wonderful and deserving winner. To Make a Doll, Angus Strachan, UK, many congratulations.
Hi everyone at Trim Festival. Wow, such an honour to have won this this prize. I'm so grateful. I didn't even know I'd won it. A friend, I knew I was on the shortlist, but I was trying to do an essay for Goldsmiths, and I was like obsessed. And a friend rang me and said, "Do you know you've won the Trim Award?" And wow, so very grateful. I wish we were all together. It's yeah, I kind of feel we're close, but it would be so much better if we were all together. But it is what it is. So anyway, this is my poem, To Make a Doll. To make a doll, take 10 strands of wool from mother's wicker basket of mixed skeins. Make each strand different, because people are different including inside themselves too. Make each strand from head to toe 1 foot long. Lay each strand neatly side by side upon the sewing table, because people are neat on the outside. Tie off segments with snips of 1 white gym shoelace, segments for knees and stomach and Dolly's throat. Maybe a spoink of hair at the top is good too. Use steel wool or last year's Christmas decorations for this. Sew everything together for extra strength. Do this with my boy hands, which are clumsy with some things, but good treehouse building hands, Nana says. Use a thimble, which is a funny word that doesn't look like it should be a word. It looks like a hat for people with long, thin heads. It's fun to say as well. Add red cotton needle loops all circled up for Dolly's cheeks. Take more cotton wool from Mother's leg wax drawer if I need it. Dip this in fountain pen India ink from Grandfather's odd job box. Use this to make Dolly's black Irish hair. Sew in tight some sky-coloured blue buttons for Sister's eyes. Use a small white velvet or satin button from somebody's good girl communion blouse for my sister's tummy button. She never got to be 2, so her tummy button is still only small. Sew her name on the back in running writing, Gida, because it's her birthday tomorrow. Gida's been dead since before I was born, but mothers never forget. Thank you.
There's 2 other runner-up winners. They're in no particular order. The first I'm going to read is The Invisible House by Brian Kirk. This 3-line stanza, long-lined poem has a strong narrative with richly detailed descriptions. It opens by informing the reader that all this is happening in a dream. But by line 3, the reader is so engaged with the details, they have forgotten. I'm unsure if the speaker dreams about going to a dream house, or in dreams they are revisiting the house of their youth. I am inclined towards the latter. He says, year after year we came and went as regularly as the trains. All human intimacies of family life are here, with captive descriptions. Shaped around the body, snug and protective, warm and affecting the senses in ways that can't be explained. The kitchen hums an old song I can almost remember. These are wonderful, affecting lines that speak of the universality of our idea of home. After leading us through the house, the speaker seems to enter the house again. It has a lovely, poignant ending with a strong note of hope and redemption. Well done, Brian Kirk, The Invisible House.
Hello, my name is Brian Kirk. I was delighted this year to be chosen as runner-up in the Trim Poetry Festival competition by Judge Jean O'Brien. I just want to say thanks to everybody at Trim, Michael Farry in particular, and to Jean O'Brien for choosing my poem. My poem is called The Invisible House, and I suppose it's a poem based on the actual house I was brought up in, which no longer exists. It was demolished some years ago to make way for a car park, but it's a house that still exists very much so in the imagination and in dream. So here it is, The Invisible House. In dreams I take the train from town, shunting through grass embankments to the station, signal box, footbridge, goods wagon in the siding, the roof of station house visible behind hedges. I'm walking down the lane that never had a name, where a huge ash dwarfs the entrance to the backyard. Flat roof extension, the old timber shed built from creosote leaking sleepers, the garage we called it, the block outhouse with toilet attached. Open steel tank on top, filled with rainwater, sludge, dead leaves, and out in the field the black shed caving in where we fattened pigs for market. A yard of gravel and muck with no path to the door. Open it. What do you see? Bare rooms where all stories began. Up the hall to the scullery and into the kitchen, flagged yellow and red, blackened by years and the comings and goings of feet, careless of time. Year after year we came and went, as regular as the trains, the house filling up only to empty again over time, like rainwater in a barrel. Now it is a shell, a perfect multiplicity of difference, shaped around the body, snug and protective, warm and affecting the senses in ways that cannot be explained. The kitchen hums an old song I can almost remember, cold as the pots that hang in the scullery, warm as the cold-swallowing range. My voice strains to meet it, but can't reach the pitch of bubble and hiss, shallow dripping of rainwater, accumulating years of rust on the tongue. I'm standing at the top of the road looking down on the car park, the ghosts of fields, lanes and sheds, the invisible house, towering over the rows of shining insipid cars. All day they wait suspended for something to happen, but nothing will. I walk around the lot. I don't care who's watching, and try the back door. It opens as I knew it would, and I'm inside and everyone is there again. And there's no more waiting now. There will be time for all of us to find the things we lost along the way, to learn the words of songs we always longed to sing but never had the heart. And we will sound okay, better than we'd ever thought, and we will laugh at ourselves, and only at ourselves, and freely share the joke with others. Thank you.
And we will end on Marion Oxley, also from the UK, and her poem Echolocation. This is a wonderful, mysterious and shape-shifting poem. It appears to chart our lives under the restrictions of COVID-19. The poet mingles the lives of bats, the virus and technology, remembering that some blame bats for the initial spread of the virus. The poem is presented in 3 stanzas of 11 lines each of uneven metre. The second stanza develops the simile between humans using the technology of Zoom and other social media sites to stay in touch with family and friends, and bats' use of echolocation. We are trying to navigate distance by tap, touch, stroke, click, or human echolocation. The third and last stanza is mysterious as the speaker addresses an unnamed you that seems to be a bat or virus whom the speaker failed to hear and which now presents itself at the speaker's doorframe. This is skillfully handled all the way through, with each stanza progressing the previous one and deepening our appreciation and understanding. A wonderful, engaging poem for our times. Marion Oxley, Echolocation. Absolute congratulations to everybody.
Hello. I'm going to read my poem Echolocation, and thank you very much to Judge Jean O'Brien for selecting it as runner-up, and also to Trim Poetry Competition Committee, I assume, who ran the competition very efficiently, I thought. Anyway, a little bit about how it came about, the background to the poem. I actually was given a bat detector because I live in a valley, and I'd noticed that bats locally seem to be becoming few and far between, and I wanted to sort of check out that suspicion, really. So I didn't start using the back detector straight away. I started last year, and a couple of months into coronavirus restrictions. So the listening to the bats and general sort of restraints on communication all came together in this poem, which I hope sort of looks at the parallels between our relationship, our changing relationship to nature during the last year, and our changing relationship to each other as well. So this is the poem, Echolocation. For many nights now I have stood on the threshold listening, watching the sky turn from candle lemon to pink flecked grey. Soon you will come, falling from bridges, slipping from roofs, escaping the cracks, shoulders pushing through crevices, skin breathing the valley. The scent of petrichor rolled between your fingers. You are just a flicker at first, hand wings like shadow puppets, shape-shifting across a newly painted magnolia bedroom wall. These days we carry our lives folded like wings, carry our friends, families from room to room, hug them to us, tuck them under our arms, place them against our warm cheeks, press an ear against the machine. In solitude we tap, touch, stroke and click, try to navigate distance, obstacles. We hang in rows amongst bookcases, posters, potted plants, bedside lamps. Muted and framed in dark caves, we hover over the surface of our being, entombed beneath the surface gloss. When I opened the door, you were there, clinging onto the door frame, the weight of your small body wrapped in the night's skin. Hands outstretched, fingers still clinging on. How long had you been there? Had you crawled on elbows and knees to watch as I stood night after night beyond the corridor of trees, the light from the kitchen shining out into the dark, the space between your world and mine, unable to hear when the dusk loosened your voice, the clicking of tongues as you passed by.
Hi, I'm Karen MacDonald, and I just want to say thank you very much to Trim Poetry Festival. And here is my poem that got onto the shortlist. It's called In a Republic of Nuns. Second class. Convent schooling begins. Sister I slaps the whole class with a wooden ruler because no one admitted to talking when she was outside the door. This seems fair. Most of you were talking. You play Queenie I.O. and Red Rover at lunchtime. Third class. Sister R says you have a nice voice when you sing. You take the high road. Sister E hits you on the back of the hand with a wooden blackboard duster. You were talking in line outdoors. This isn't fair. She's not even your teacher. Sister I is your teacher. She slaps your face. You made a spelling mistake on Daddy's Christmas card. This also is not fair. You don't feel like playing. 4th class. The classroom is upstairs. You feel like one of the big girls. Sister A teaches you history for the first time. You fall in love with history, but you can't get it to match up with the Bible. History keeps you awake at night. Sister A staples her finger, tries to pretend it doesn't hurt, but you can see. Pulling out a staple, it hurts. She gives out mad about grown-ups who don't want left-handed children. You're a cathog. Sister A is on your side. 5th class. Sister N is the first nun to use her real name. She has brown curls and smiles a lot. Apart from falling down the stairs and in the yard, all is well. You are yourself. The nuns ban Chinese skipping. Love to see nuns Chinese skipping. 6th class. Sister D is a small bundle of noise with politics on the brain. She puts up election posters of Jack Lynch. He has lovely eyes. The class sings The Men Behind the Wire. You paint shamrocks, tricolours and hearts on a shocking pink background. On a shelf is an old copy of a TV guide dedicated to the 50th anniversary of the Easter Rising. As an adult, you wish you'd stolen it. You are 12 when June finally arrives, leaving at last. A bit of tarmac still embedded in your right knee.
One of my favourite tracks from the 60s was Marianne by Leonard Cohen, later Closing Time. I was watching Normal People on RTE, and they were doing reruns of Pure Mule at the same time, and I thought if she was walking down the street with a bomber there'd be no smart remarks. It'd be, how you bomber, God you're looking well Marianne. Closing Time, Normal People. Past the watersheds it was Pure Mule to kick in. There were no normal people round here, dressed to kill when they were dressed at all. And before the snowflakes melted or the chips were down, it was Closing Time. And Marianne, well, you'd better hope that the bomber Brennan was not on student exchange, because there were no normal people round here. It was Closing Time. That's it.